everyone, it's Elena
and CJ
and Andrew
and Ross.
And we got all your questions that we asked for in our last video, so today we're going to answer hopefully all of them about Cambridge. And yeah, let's get started. Any advice for a law personal statement? What wider reading and work experience did you do?
I did no wider reading.
I did no work experience.
I didn't mention my work experience, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I did 8 weeks and they didn't even mention it at all.
I did a bit of work experience at a high court, so I sat for a week on the bench at a high court, and I also went to a couple of law firms up in London, and that was brought up a little bit during my interview, but it wasn't that extensively, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think just it's only really important to show that you have a wider interest in your subject and that you're actually engaging with it on some level.
I'm currently choosing between law and history. How do I make sure law is the right course for me? Also, what advice would you give for the interview? How was yours? Okay, let's go for the first one first, right? Like how to choose if law is the right thing for you.
So I was choosing between law and physics, which is two very two very different things.
Yeah.
So I was struggling to choose whether I wanted to do law or physics, and a big part of it was that I knew that I enjoyed physics and that I didn't know whether I'd enjoy law or not. And I think really what was said to me was basically just turn up to Cambridge, go to a couple of lectures, see how you enjoy supervisions, because if you really dislike it, there's always the option that you can swap whilst you're here.
And bear in mind that you don't need a law degree to be a lawyer here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You can
also
always
though,
switch.
if you are really unsure, one thing that I'd highly recommend is going to public lectures. So a lot of universities have public events which are lectures, and so you can just sign up for these. Sometimes you don't even need to sign up and you can just show up. So just check like universities that are nearby you and what events the faculties have, and you just go to a few of them so that you get a bit of an idea of what it would be like to sit in a course like history or law. And if you basically fall asleep in one of them, well then you know that's probably an indicator this is not the right field for you. And that just also gives you a bit of a sense of what it would be like to study the subject. Oh, and there also was a second part about the interview. So as you may know, if you come to Cambridge to interview, you have to sign sort of a non-disclosure agreement that you're not going to talk about the exact details of your interview. But I did make a video about my interview, which is as detailed as it can possibly be and compliant with that agreement. And you can find that video up here, and you can also find it in the info box below. And there are all the details that I can give you guys, and there's also some links to a practice interview that the faculty uploaded and that I found really useful in preparing for it. Do we have to be like rank 1 on class to get accepted into Cambridge?
no.
Well, but it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Like it would do well.
Yeah.
It would help, but like no.
Are you also doing a semester abroad?
No.
You can't do a semester abroad, but you can do a year abroad. But that is still a bit unclear because of Brexit. But if the Erasmus program continues, then you will be able to go abroad into another EU country, and you can do a year of law there, but then you're turning your 3-year law degree into a 4-year law degree. Best study tip?
Plan your time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Check out Elena's video on planning your time.
Yeah, please do.
Sleep.
Oh yeah, very important, sleep.
Sleep.
Do not sleep. That's don't.
Yeah. Imagine not sleeping.
Yeah, don't actually sleep.
Oh, this one's for Sijan. Did you have to take the English language proficiency test?
No, my school's qualifications for English were sufficient for the English proficiency test.
I think this one's also for you. How did you apply for a Tier 4 visa?
I applied online. There are a lot of information and guidance available on the international students website. I think it's internationalstudents.cam.ac.uk, which I think Elena will link below.
Sure.
And yeah, so all the information you have is down there. It's actually a really simple process, so
I think this is also one for you.
I'm popular.
I think it's because you're the only like
I'm the
overseas
token.
international
I'm the token
student
overseas
here.
international student.
Are the interview and admissions tests held at Singapore British Council or in school?
The British Council, I think, is fully unaffiliated with Cambridge interviews, so like they're being held in various schools. So my interview was at Raffles and my test was at Hwa Chong.
Has studying at Cambridge changed your career prospects?
No. Yes, maybe. Law firms actually want me now.
Yes.
How?
Because I think studying at Cambridge as well, you get given so many opportunities and
Yeah.
different things that so on one half I'm considering other stuff apart from law as well, just because of the amount of opportunities we have. But and then also studying law enabled me to understand what I actually like and probably understand better what I want to go into.
So just remember that studying law is not the be all end all. So
Have you got a paper planner? Yes.
yes, and I don't use it.
Yep, and I don't use it.
Same.
I use a calendar that's available on all Apple devices.
Same. I actually made a video about how I manage my time as a Cambridge Law student and how I use my digital planner and my paper planner, and you can find that video up here and in the info box below. Is there anything you wish you had known before starting at Cambridge?
That life is hard.
Okay, aside from the negativity here.
That you'll find people that you actually like here.
I'm gonna assume this is about me. Thank you. I think one of the things that I wish I'd known is that recommendation of 40 hours of work for law was not actually a recommendation. It's actually what you have to do.
It's a requirement.
Yeah, like I thought they were kind of like exaggerating a bit, because I mean 40 hours of independent work is like doing a full-time job, but then in addition to that you have 13 hours of lectures and supervisions a week, so actually you're doing more than a full-time job, and I thought there's no way. But yeah, well, there is a way.
There is a way. That's why we all look not alive.
For your friends, what results did you get in your exams, like IB, A-levels, etc.?
I took the Singaporean version of the A-levels and I got 7 distinctions, which is basically what the max I could get. You?
3 A stars, 1 A.
3 A stars, 1 A.
How does student finance work, UK government and college, uni over?
Student finance is so you just apply for it online. I think it's like a maintenance loan, and it's based on your household income. So your maintenance grant is something on top of your tuition loan. So I think everyone is entitled to a tuition loan.
You're entitled to automatically £4,000 maintenance loan, and depending on your household income, you can go up to £8,000.
Yeah. And then that will go to your rent, and also if it covers your rent, which one doesn't, then you will be able to use the extra for food and whatever you want, really.
Yeah, also, even if you don't want to use student finance, but you are an EU student or a UK student, at least for John's, apply for it anyway. You can get out of it later, but you need to show that you are eligible for funding through student finance in order not to pay the college fee, because the college fee is an additional few £1,000s, and just by applying student finance and showing the letter that you would have gotten some money from student finance, you don't have to pay that, so do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure international students, like if you're non-EU, won't qualify though. I don't think you qualify.
Yeah, it's only for EU students.
So yeah.
Don't forget that, like, on top of student finance, you can apply for bursaries because John's is like one of the most generous colleges.
For international students, there's a Cambridge Trusting. They're quite selective in giving out scholarships, which is just money to you, so it might be an option.
Yeah, definitely. If you get any emails about applying for anything where you can get funding, just apply. It's worth it.
Yeah.
How to choose Oxford or Cambridge?
You don't choose.
There's no choice here, guys.
The clear answer is Cambridge.
Yeah.
Definitely Cambridge.
What's the best college?
John's.
Definitely.
John's.
I don't really subscribe to that idea, but yeah. All colleges are good in their own right. Choose the college that's best for you.
AKA John's. How do you balance the workload and social life at Cambridge? I think balance is a very strong word, which I wouldn't employ.
Yeah.
I think that with your workload, it's obviously about getting the work done, but there is a certain point at which you have to be like, I've done all the work I want to do for the day, and even if you think that you're slightly behind, it's still better for you to actually just have a social life. So the balance is about you being able to stop and actually realising that you've hit a wall or that you just need to have a break. And so in that regard, I think it's okay, but it's also about being able to go to the library for however long you need to and actually doing the work whilst you're there.
I think one of the really great things is that everybody here has a very stressing degree, so they fully understand if you say, oh, I can't go out, I need to work, and there's like no, you know, like judgment or pressure, like, oh, you should come out with us. No, like people fully understand and accept that, and I think that's really, really great about it. What are some of the best things about St. John's?
Everything.
Yeah, like the food.
It's
oh my
really,
God.
it's pretty good.
Also,
Really?
Like it's
I
decent.
love
It's decent. And like I would say it's like
no.
We've gone from
The
really good to
food is
decent.
really good. Like as someone who came from a boarding school where like sometimes in a canteen you would not really know what you were eating because it just didn't have a real taste. The food here is freaking amazing. Also the food in formal halls is really great. But I think the best thing about John's is the people. I know it sounds like really cheesy, but like the students are amazing. I know that there's a bit of a prejudice towards John's as being a very like posh college, but honestly everybody I've met here is really welcoming and open. And the other thing is staff is also really amazing, especially the porters. They're angels. Like they are so like kind. Like we love you guys so much.
Unlike a certain college's porters.
Unlike a certain college.
Trinity.
Want to do a PhD? Yes.
No. I'm gonna sell my soul. Are you selling a soul?
Probably not. Probably not doing a PhD, so yes.
Selling our soul. So,
What they mean by selling their souls is going into a commercial.
AKA selling my soul to the corporate machinery, and I'm at peace with it. Very at peace.
How are you?
Sick.
Alright.
These are all very depressing
Oh my
answers.
Okay, we're alive, and that's all that matters, right?
No, I mean, to be fair,
I'm good.
like at times we are quite stressed, but I think generally we are fine. First impression of Cambridge?
Oh,
Big, cold.
I think this is my favorite question by far. Are they single? So just to clarify, it says they. So I guess nobody wants to know if Elena is single or not. So are you guys single?
No.
Wait, what?
Because we're college married.
Yeah, college married.
Oh.
Oh,
My
college
favorite person.
spouses.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know what college marriage is, it's basically somebody asks you to marry them. But it's not like an official marriage, it's like a college marriage.
It's like a platonic thing. Like you're not
Yeah.
supposed to college marry someone that you're like romantically interested in for the kids.
Yeah, that's a big taboo.
No.
Yeah, also like you will then get college kids, so that's when
Adorable.
first years come and they get some college parents who are like, you know, supposed to guide you a little bit, tell you where things are. If you have any questions about student life, you can ask them. What did they do to get into Cambridge?
Study.
Study. A lot
Yeah.
of work.
A lot of work, basically.
Yeah.
How do you manage finances as a student? Oh, Sijan is the master of finances.
Oh, yeah. Do I though, is the question.
So what I do is that I self-cater half my meals. So like I do lunch in the Bursaries and I do dinner. I cook dinner and I guess like part of it is that I don't go out a lot anyway. So like I don't spend much money on everything else, and I bring a lot of stuff from home, like back from Singapore, so that kind of saves me a decent amount of money as well. And something good is like to set yourself a budget every week and stick to it. And like, you know,
It's very hard to stick to a budget.
I mean it's okay, like just need to be like aware of how much you're spending, I think.
Yeah.
And once you're aware of that, then it's fine, because like then if you spend less this week, then you can spend more next week, and like, you know.
If your parents come up to visit, milk that for all it's worth. Go out for lunch.
Go out for
Get
dinner.
free shopping.
Yeah.
That is the that's the pinnacle of the term when your parents come to visit.
GCSEs for law at Cambridge.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
don't care.
yeah.
I mean, even at A levels, it don't matter because there's a guy who studies law with us, and he did maths and triple sciences, and he still got in.
Yeah.
But maths is actually recommended for law. So if you guys want to know what subjects are recommended, I'm going to link that in the info box below. So the university has some guidance on that, but please note that is not binding and you can still apply even if you didn't have any of the recommended subjects. Does the University of Cambridge accept students who have never studied in English before?
Yes.
How many subjects do you have to study and how many hours do you study during the day?
We take 4.5 papers this year, 5 next year, and 5 the year after. I generally study about 6-7 hours a day.
Yeah, I'd say 6 to 8 hours a day.
Same.
It depends on how long the reading list is, really.
Yeah. But even
and how much panic you already
Yeah,
have inside
so-
you.
but it's kind of all in line with the 40 hours a week kind of thing. So
Yeah.
How do you deal with stress? What is the support for stress and mental well-being like at Cambridge? Okay, so about the support, there's actually quite a lot of support available, and I think what's really important is just to note that in university you're a lot more on your own, so people are unlikely to come up to you and be like, oh, do you need support, as they would probably in high school, you know, when they think you're struggling. So if you ever feel like you're struggling in university, and I think this is for any university wherever you're studying, say it, okay? Because it's very unlikely that someone's going to come up to you and be like, are you okay, like, do you need some support? But as soon as you say I need some support, there's actually a lot available and people are really open to help. So our college has its own college counsellor, where you can go, you know, if you need to talk about some issues that you're having. You can also make use of the university counselling service. You can go to the nurse and she can advise you where you should go with whatever issue you're having. They also require you to register with a GP, so you could also just go and see your doctor about it. And generally my tip is to just go to the nurse and she'll tell you where you can go. And if there's anything like really emergency mental health crisis related, you can always go to the porters and they then know what to do.
And there's also, I think, Nightline, right? Which you can call at night or like anonymous, like kind of just talk to someone if you really just need chat.
And I think generally for us, how we deal with stress is sometimes I just honestly stay in and like watch a movie, eat some chocolate, and that's just very therapeutic. So yeah, sometimes you just need that. But I think sometimes I'm also really grateful that Sejan just comes around. She's like, I'm gonna force you to walk out now of your room and see the sun.
Sorry guys, I love you too.
We love you too.
Don't touch me. I think.
What types of things did you do in high school that you think got you prepared or accepted into Cambridge?
I did a lot of essay-based subjects, so I think that really helps in terms of writing.
I also wrote one of my essays on a legal case. So I think that just helped me a bit with like some of the ideas that exist in, you know, legal academia. And I think just generally writing a lot of essays really helped a lot. Also, one thing that at least helped me a lot is what I realized, that I had a curriculum which was already at a pretty high level in terms of workload, because I did the IB and you were already required to do a lot of independent work. So when I came to university, it was much easier to adapt to the fact that nobody's going to check on whether I did my homework or not. What is the nightlife like at Cambridge? How many times a week can someone realistically go out clubbing, to the bar, etc.?
Or realistically every day.
I can't talk because I don't go out and I don't drink.
I don't go out that much either.
So, Ross?
Yep. Andrew?
I mean, a bit less than Ross, but I can give in my 2 cents. But after Ross.
So it really depends. So I've sort of figured out recently that it depends on what you want to do. So you've sort of got three things. You've either got extracurriculars, social, and work, and you can pick 2 and do those well. And if you try and do all 3, then you're gonna sort of crash and burn. So I think that if you're doing your work and you want to go out with a law degree, you could probably afford to go out maybe twice a week if you're on top of your work. Any more than that, then maybe like a special occasion, you can go out 3 times a week. If you're going out more than 3 times a week frequently, or you're going out like 4 times a week, then you're probably going to get pulled into a DOS meeting because you need to because it's a struggle to do your work.
Well, also bear in mind the thing about being a law student is that not only do you have like a tremendous amount of reading, but also you get invited by law firms, so you have to take that into account to have like dinner with them because they like to promote themselves. So that can almost count as a night out because it's less time that you can spend reading. So
but if you get invited to those and you have a choice between a law firm and a nightclub, always choose a law firm, because it's like a £50 dinner with usually free open bar,
champagne
with free alcohol, and they just pay for everything. And in your first year, it's not like you even have to worry about back schemes or anything, unless you're CGen. So and then so you can just sort of chill out and just enjoy it.
Also, it's a networking opportunity. You know, you might want to get a job after your degree. So
not that Elena's interested, but
like, you know, just less competition, you know.
How's the workload compared to the IB? So I did the IB, and I think actually looking back now, I'm so grateful actually, like how much stuff they dump on you during the IB, because then when you come to university, you're just so much, you know, more organized when you have a lot of things to do. And I think I do more work now than I did during the IB, but it's quite comparable. But the difference is that now I only do things that I really enjoy, because I only study law, which is what I really wanted to do. Whereas in the IB you also have to study subjects that you don't actually like as much. How is catering for yourself in college?
Good. I like cooking. Cooking is like my therapy. So like at like 6 p.m. I emerge from like the cocoons of my room and be like, I need to cook, and I cook for an hour and I eat. And like,
Yeah, and then I just come and like eat her food.
Don't be like me. I don't know how to cook, so I go to Bursaries all the time, and it's just a waste of money.
No, you should learn how to cook before you come.
Yeah.
Though. I feel like it's
Yeah.
a good skill.
Or you just be like me and get a friend like Sejan and eat her food.
Yeah, she owes me a lot of stuff.
Is it really harder to get admitted to Cambridge as an international student?
No, you're judged on the same standard.
Why did you decide to do a law degree and not just convert into it later?
I want to do law anyway, so like I want to have like a good foundational grounding, and because I want to go back to Singapore and practice there, I cannot convert it. It's not an option in Singapore. I need a qualifying law degree to be able to practice in Singapore, so practical concerns as well.
Yeah.
I think you can. I think if you want to convert, it's fine. So when I went up to a few law firms, they usually have about a 50-50 split of
Yeah.
people who've done the GDL and who are who did law degrees. I think if you're interested in law as a subject, then a law degree is just better because you actually have more time to look at some of the more interesting, niche, more nuanced parts of law.
Do you have free time during the day or the week? Yes.
You schedule in your
Yes.
free time. You make your time free.
You need to make time.
Yeah.
How do we know which college to choose? Do the fees for each one vary? Depending on the college, is it more easy or difficult to get accepted to Cambridge?
No, actually there isn't a difference.
Yeah.
If you're good and you apply to a college, and if they can't accept you, they'll pull you, and then another college will take you. So there is actually theoretically no difference.
Yeah, also, even if you think about it, so even if a college theoretically had 10 places to give away and they only had 10 applicants and they actually thought only 5 of them were good, then they can fill the other 5 spots with candidates who got pulled from other colleges. So don't look at the numbers of who applies to which college and think it's going to be easier to get in somewhere just because there's less people applying.
Don't. Mm-hmm.
And
It's about
also-
the quality.
Yeah, and also I think if you like a college, then just apply there anyway. And even if it ends up being more competitive for certain spaces, like the factually there are certain colleges. So for law, for example, Downing is one which is often applied to for law. Then that will be more competitive for spaces just because more people are going for it. But that doesn't mean that your ability to get into the university is hampered.
Yeah, it's just your ability to get into the college, but that's really it. And you know, in the end, you're still gonna, you know, do the same degree, just maybe at a different college.
Yeah, in the same
And
city.
everybody ends up loving their college, really.
Yeah.
Like I haven't met anybody so far who didn't like their college. Like some people, you know, they get pulled and they're not really excited to start, but then you go there, you discover the community and what makes the college special, and generally people just fall in love with it. What was the IB requirement? Okay, so the general IB requirement for law at the University of Cambridge is an overall score of 42 with 776. But remember, they can change your offer as they did for me, where they turned it into a 43 with 776. How many lectures do you usually have in a week?
11 in Michaelmas, 8 this term.
Yeah,
What are the 3 most prestigious colleges of Cambridge?
that's no, that's
We're not answering
that's
that
not how that works.
No,
Really.
no. Let me
John's.
answer this. What are the 3 most prestigious colleges of Cambridge? John's.
I concur.
Yeah, sure.
What's the most important element that got you into Cambridge?
I think your work ethic and maybe your like...
I just think your passion.
Yeah, your passion for the law,
subjects, yeah.
Yeah, but also I think, and a lot of times one thing to remember is they only get like a little, you know, snapshot in time of you because they see you in the interview and then maybe have an admissions test for your subject, and then obviously then they also have your personal statement. But I think it's really important that to remember that, you know, they only have this like very limited information about you, and if you have been having a bad day or something on the day of your interview or something and then maybe you don't get in, like it doesn't mean you're not you know, passionate about your subject or you wouldn't be smart enough to study law at Cambridge. There's just a lot of factors outside that play into it, but don't think that, you know, just because some people go to Cambridge means they are more passionate about their subject than people who maybe study at UCL or whatever. That's absolutely not true. How did you do well on the admissions test?
We never got our admissions test back.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Actually, Sejan did because she
I got
tricked the
mine.
system.
Yeah. Wait, what do you say? How did I do well?
Yeah.
I think... Wait, am I allowed to say my grades? I don't think I am, but I did like decently on it. And honestly, it's just... like, just treat it like any normal day. Like, don't put too much stress on yourself. I think that's the most important part.
Also, I'm gonna have the video about my interview linked down below, where I also link down some practice resources for the admissions test, because there's actually one college which published like a sample paper, and there you can also see the grading scale, so I found that quite helpful in preparing. What's your biggest tip for the interview process?
Don't be nervous and be yourself.
I think being nervous is kind of inevitable a bit, but try to control it.
Yeah.
You know, don't let your anxiety get the best of you.
I just think through what they ask you, and also don't be too stubborn.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, if you sort of stubbornly stick to what you're saying and they point out something to you, and you know they expect you to argue because it is a law degree, so you're meant to defend your point of view, but there's a point at which defending your point of view becomes
dangerous territory.
You just sticking to something that's clearly wrong, or you know, perhaps you need to think through it more.
Have one topic that you know that you can talk about confidently.
And most importantly, read through your personal statement, because the topics you touch on there are topics that the people who interview you are going to assume are important to you, so they're going to expect you to have knowledge on them.
I found what I found really helpful was that my Bursaries, my school, did a mock interview, which I recognise not every school can do. But also my brother looked through my personal statement and decided what questions he thought he would ask if he was to read it as just a normal person. And so that's quite useful, because then you could, sometimes your personal statement, there's some quite obvious questions that come up and you should really know the answers to them, because you've perhaps left gaps in your personal statement that any tutor would want to fill up and see if you actually know your stuff. And so that's quite good if you can get someone in your family or one of your friends to do that.
Also, don't be Andrew. Know why you want to study law. We still get a place if you do not achieve your conditions.
Really depends on like how many people didn't achieve their offer on that year, so like it's really entirely up to the discretion of the admissions people in the college. So
generally don't risk it. Like I know for John's law there were at least 2 other people who had an offer, and John's did not take them because we all met our offers. So they were like, no, we filled our spots. Can non-EU students obtain bursaries? Yes, you can, but there are only specific ones that you can apply for. Also check if your college actually has some for non-EU students. And this is something you really need to check before applying, if you know that you're going to need financial aid for going to Cambridge. And yes, it's possible, but they are in more limited availability than the ones for EU and UK students. And yeah, that was our Cambridge Q&A. Thank you guys so much for your questions, and thank you for watching. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below or send me a message through the contact section of my blog, which is linked in the info box below. If you guys want to know more about these 3 guys, I'm gonna have their social media linked in the info box below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Bye!
Bye!